modes. I'm going to talk about the modes in this week's tip. This is part of my series, 10 Tips for Intentional Practice. When I say the modes, do you lean in and say, "Oh, tell me more"? Or do you want to just change the channel? But it's an important part of music. Not so much that you're going to show up on a gig and be asked to play something in the Phrygian mode. I don't recall that I've ever shown up on a gig and somebody asked me to play any particular mode, really. But it is an element of music, harmony, melody, improvisation. And I think it's worth exploring to the extent that you understand the sound of the different modes and that you can recognize them when you hear them. Whether you remember all the Greek names for them or not, you should, at least in your mind, have a clear distinction of like, oh, that's that one that has that kind of quality to it, or that's that one that has that kind of sound or feeling or emotion to it. So what am I talking about? If the modes are new to you, let me just play a little bit and you get the idea. So here is a C major scale. Right? It doesn't seem to be anything modal about that. It's a C major scale. But in the world of modes, it is a mode. We call it the Ionian mode. And we can build 6 other modes by starting on different notes of the C scale and calling each new starting point, this is the home note now. So if I start on D, and I still play the notes of a C scale, but starting on D and ending on D, that's a different sound. Especially if I play a chord here that might go with that. Right, you can hear that doesn't sound the same as this. This is something a little different. Even though on paper it's virtually the same. Then we can go E to E. We can go F to F. We can go G to G. A to A. We can go B to B. And then C to C. So each of these is a mode, and there are melodies and chords that are related to each of those. You're probably going to like some of them more than others, and there might even be one of the modes that you're like, what is that? I can't imagine ever making music with that. But that's what this tip is about. I want you to do that. I want you to pick the runt of the litter and really foster it. Take it and see if you can play a melody from that mode. So for a lot of people in these modes, Locrian is the 7th mode that people are like, what is that? And I'm going to see if I can find 3 things here. A cool lick, a cool chord, and maybe a cool groove. And if I can do that, then this mode is no longer unuseful to me. So let's see if I can come up with a lick. So it's pretty cool. 2, 3, 4. Right. And that's with that chord. That seems pretty useful. Let me play the same thing an octave higher. 2, 3, 4. Cool. It doesn't scream, hey, I'm Locrian, but it is, and I think it's a cool melody. So I'll take that. Let me try to come up with a cool chord voicing. The basic notes that we want to have are B, D, F, and A. That's B minor 7 flat 5, or some people call that B half diminished. So what can we do to make that a little more colorful? One thing you could do is get the open E on top. Right. We could try a different voicing, this is the same 4 notes, just kind of distributed a little differently. So B, A, D, F. And again, we could get that open E in there. That's pretty cool. I'll show you another one that I like where it's B, F, A, D, and I put a G on top. And again, I don't know if I can actually get my hand to do this. You could kind of get the E in there. Any of those, I think, could be a cool Locrian chord. Here's a real simple one if you're not into all this gymnastics. Right? That's cool. So any of those I think I could turn into something. So let's see if that's true. I'm going to try to turn this one into a groove. Let's see. If I can find one from this thing. Cool. So make something out of the runt of the litter. Really foster it. And if you can come up with a cool lick, a cool chord, and a cool groove, then you are on your way to really owning that sound. Of course, I've just been talking about major scale modes. You could go through the same approach with harmonic minor and find the 7 modes. There's probably one in there that you're like, why? That's the one. That's the one that you want to spend some time with. That's what we do. We're musicians. Like, you should be able to make something from nothing. So find something that feels really ugly or not useful or unimportant, and see if you can make something beautiful or cool or funky out of it. Hey, thanks for tuning in to this week's tip. It's part of a series. I don't know if you knew that, but I'm doing this New Year's series called 10 Tips for Intentional Practice. It's kind of like a New Year's resolution series specifically for guitar players. I've come up with 10 things that I think are important for just about any kind of player, whatever your level, whatever your interest is. I think you'll find something here that will help you set a good intention for growth on the guitar in this year. If you haven't already subscribed to Guitar Tips, that's this channel, right now would be a perfect time to subscribe. And if you liked this video, then please give it a thumbs up, like, and make sure to tune in next week for another tip in the series.